Hey, pause for a second. I want you to look at your life right now. Your job, your relationships, what you did today, even what you're wearing. Here's something that might sting a little. How much of this is actually you versus what other people think you should be? Look, I get it. We all want to fit in, make people proud, do the right thing. But I'm going to share 7 signs that might be tough to hear. Signs that you're living someone else's life instead of your own. And honestly, if even 3 of these hit home, it's time for a real conversation. Before you keep scrolling, let me ask you something personal. When's the last time you did something just because you wanted to? Not for Instagram, not because it made sense, not because someone else would approve, but because something inside you said, "This feels right." Drawing a blank? Yeah, we need to talk. So I have this friend, Sarah. She's 28, killing it in marketing, beautiful apartment, great salary, literally everything society tells us we should want. But she called me at 2 a.m. last month crying. She said something that gave me chills. I don't even know who I am anymore. And here's the scary part. Sarah isn't unique. I've been researching this, and it turns out over 70% of people feel disconnected from who they really are. We're basically sleepwalking through lives that look good on paper but feel empty inside. The thing is, most of us don't even realize we're doing it. We think we're making our own choices, but we're actually following this invisible script written by our parents, society, social media, everyone except us. Here's what happens. From day one, we learn to be good. Don't be too loud, don't be too different, be successful in the way everyone recognizes. And piece by piece, we bury who we really are under layers of shoulds. But that real you, it's still in there. It's that voice that whispers when you're alone at night. It's what makes you feel alive when nobody's watching. Today, we're going to help you find your way back. All right, sign number 1. You're constantly asking for permission to live your own life. Listen to how you talk about decisions. Do you say, "I decided to quit my job," or "Everyone thinks I should quit my job"? Do you make choices or do you make excuses? If you're always explaining yourself to others or asking what they think before you act, you're not living, you're performing. I learned this the hard way. When you live for applause, you die by criticism. You become this shapeshifter, constantly changing to get approval. But that approval? It never feels good because it's not really for you. It's for the version of you that you think people want. I worked with this guy, Michael, who spent 15 years as an accountant because his dad said it was secure. 15 years of hating Monday mornings. When I asked what he actually wanted to do, he just stared at me. He'd buried his dreams so deep, he forgot they existed. Sign number 2. Your goals sound impressive at parties but feel hollow at home. You know what I mean? Those goals that get you nods and good for yous when you share them. But when you're alone, they feel empty. Maybe it's that corner office you're chasing, or the perfect wedding everyone expects, or the house in suburbia that screams, "I made it." But when you hit these milestones, instead of celebration, you feel nothing. Or worse, trapped. That's your soul telling you these aren't your goals. They're society's goals with your name on them. Real goals feel different. They excite you even when no one's around. You lose hours working on them. You don't need motivation because the work itself feeds you. Sign number 3. You're basically a different person everywhere you go. Work you, family you, social media you, friend you, and none of them feel authentic. You're constantly switching personalities like you're changing clothes depending on who's watching. It's exhausting, right? Like being in a play where everyone forgot to give you the script. This happens because different versions of you get different types of approval. But here's the problem. When you try to be everything to everyone, you end up being nothing to yourself. The real you is consistent. Not perfect, not always appropriate, but real. You can feel it when you meet someone who's genuinely themselves. There's this magnetic authenticity that draws you in. Sign number 4. You have this unexplained anxiety that doesn't make sense. Your body keeps score. When you live against your nature for too long, your nervous system starts rebelling. You might have anxiety you can't pinpoint, depression that doesn't match your successful life, or just this nagging feeling that something's wrong but you can't figure out what. This isn't weakness. This is your authentic self pulling the fire alarm, screaming, "This isn't right, this isn't you." Sign number 5. You get jealous of people who seem free to be themselves. You see someone quit corporate to become an artist, and instead of thinking, "That's crazy," your gut reaction is envy. You watch someone speak their truth boldly, and you wish you had that courage. You see people living unconventionally, and something in you aches. That jealousy is data. It's your authentic self pointing at what it wants. Pay attention to it. Sign number 6. You feel guilty when you actually enjoy yourself. This one's sneaky but brutal. You spend Sunday painting instead of being productive, and you feel guilty. You stay home instead of going to that networking event you hate, and you feel selfish. This guilt is programmed. It's the voice of everyone who taught you that your joy doesn't matter as much as your obligations, that self-care is selfish, that your wants are less important than everyone else's expectations. But here's what nobody told you. You can't give from an empty cup. You can't love others authentically if you don't love yourself first. You can't share your gifts with the world if you don't even know what they are. Sign number 7. You catch yourself thinking, "Is this really it?" You have the life everyone says you should want, but it feels flat, empty. You think there has to be more than this, or wonder if this is all life has to offer. You feel like you're sleepwalking through your own existence. This isn't depression. This is recognition. Your soul knows you're living someone else's dream, not your own. Now, if you saw yourself in 3 or more of these signs, take a breath. You're not broken. You're not doing anything wrong. You've just been living someone else's blueprint instead of designing your own life. So how do you find your way back to yourself? But how do you find your way back to yourself? How do you excavate your authentic self from under years of conditioning and expectations? First, start small. Notice when you feel most alive, most energized, most like yourself. What are you doing? Who are you with? What environment are you in? These moments are breadcrumbs leading back to your authentic self. Second, practice disappointing people. I know that sounds harsh, but here's the truth. You cannot live authentically without disappointing people who prefer your mask to your face, and that's their problem, not yours. Third, get curious about your childhood dreams. What did you want to be before the world told you it was impractical? What activities made you lose track of time before you learned they were wastes of time? Your younger self knew things about you that your adult self has forgotten. Fourth, notice your physical responses. Your body tells you when something is aligned with your authentic self and when it isn't. Does this decision make you feel expanded or contracted, energized or drained? Your nervous system is smarter than your rational mind. Fifth, stop asking, "What should I do?" and start asking, "What would I do if I knew I couldn't fail and no one would judge me?" The answer to that question is your authentic self trying to speak. Here's what happened to Sarah, the woman I mentioned at the beginning. She started small. She admitted she hated her apartment decor. It was all Instagram-worthy neutrals that felt cold and lifeless. So she bought one bright yellow pillow. Just one. That pillow became a symbol. It reminded her that she had preferences, that her joy mattered. From there, she started noticing other areas where she was living for the camera instead of for herself. She realized she was a social media manager pretending to be a marketing executive because it sounded more impressive. She was dating someone who looked good on paper but made her feel invisible. She was spending her weekends at networking events she hated because she thought that's what ambitious people did. One choice at a time, she started changing direction. Was it easy? Hell no. Some people in her life didn't like the new Sarah. But here's the thing. The right people were drawn to her authenticity like magnets. Today, Sarah runs her own social media agency, works with clients who actually energize her, lives in an apartment full of colors that make her smile, and is dating someone who loves her terrible dad jokes and her weird laugh. Most importantly, she sleeps peacefully because she's living her life, not performing it. Now, I want to be clear. Living authentically doesn't mean being selfish or hurtful. It doesn't mean abandoning everyone or being irresponsible. It means making conscious choices about who you are and how you show up, instead of just defaulting to what everyone expects. It means saying yes to what lights you up and no to what dims your light. It means honoring your values, not just your obligations. It means designing a life that fits your soul, not just your LinkedIn profile. The world needs the real you, not the polished, Instagram-ready version, the actual you. Your weird interests, your unconventional ideas, your unique way of seeing things. We have enough copies walking around. We need more originals. But I won't lie, living authentically takes guts. The guts to disappoint people who prefer your performance. The guts to choose meaning over money sometimes. The guts to be different in a world that rewards fitting in. Here's what I've learned after years of working with people on this journey. The pain of living inauthentically always exceeds the discomfort of living authentically. Yeah, it's scary to show up as yourself, but it's terrifying to wake up at 60 and realize you never actually lived your own life. So here's what I want you to try this week. One small, authentic choice. Maybe it's wearing something that makes you feel good, not what looks professional. Maybe it's speaking up in a meeting with your actual opinion. Maybe it's spending Saturday doing what you want instead of what you should do. Pay attention to how it feels. Notice who supports it and who pushes back. Watch your energy, your mood, how you sleep. Because here's the beautiful thing. When you stop trying to be everything to everyone, you become something special to the right people. When you stop living for applause, you start living for fulfillment. When you drop the masks, you start attracting the people and opportunities meant for the real you. Your authentic life has been waiting. It's been patient while you tried on everyone else's dreams. But it's still there, ready whenever you are. The question isn't whether you deserve to live authentically. You absolutely do. The question is, are you brave enough to start? If this hit home for you, I need you to do 3 things. First, subscribe and hit that notification bell because I'm doing a whole series on how to live authentically in a world that wants you to conform. Second, drop a comment and tell me which sign resonated most. Let's support each other in this. And third, share this with someone who needs to hear it. Someone who's been living everyone else's life but their own. The world doesn't need another copy. It needs the original you. I'll see you next week where we're talking about how to set boundaries without the guilt, because that's your next step in reclaiming your life. Until then, be brave enough to be yourself. Your future self is counting on it.